very first thing in Sanskrit books you will find is the akshara, the alphabet, right? Because Sanskrit happens to be a phonetic language, which means that the whole thing in Sanskrit is that every alphabet that you see, written alphabet, stands for a sound symbol. It's not just a form, right? So, for example, in English we say what? We start with A for apple, B for bat, C for cat, right? Whatever, we say these things. Now try to look at this. In Sanskrit you cannot say apple. The word apple cannot be pronounced in the Sanskrit language because there is no vowel like a. Okay? There is a, I, u, u, r, a, I. So I have to either say apple, or I have to say apple, or I have to say apple. Right? And if you notice, especially people from Kerala, I find, seem to stick more to those. They don't, you see how they pronounce their apple. You know? So, or even cat. You'll notice this. I'm saying you just have to pay attention sometimes. So I'm saying, cat can again not be pronounced. There is no cat in Sanskrit. You have to say cat, or you have to say cut, or you have to say cut. But you cannot say cat because there is no a. So I'm saying, especially for those of you who are coming in from an English background completely, who are not speaking any of the Indian vernacular languages, you should pay attention to this, that some of the sounds that are there in English language, or in Chinese, you'll find a lot of z sounds coming in, you know. So those sounds don't exist in the Sanskrit language. So the Sanskrit language is very well organized, but it is phonetic, which means that only the sounds defined in the language are available to us. Okay? So I'm saying this language happens to be somewhat different, and you normally therefore start first with the alphabet and try to say how every letter in the alphabet is pronounced in the language. So we first start with vowels, which means a vowel is that which can be pronounced independently. Okay? In Sanskrit we call it swara. Swara means what? Swayam rajate iti swaraha. That which shines by itself, that which can be pronounced by itself. Which means, if you want to say a, you can all open your mouth and try saying a, and you'll find there is nothing else involved. A comes happily, right? Whereas if you want to say ka, then that requires the tongue to go and touch the throat above, right? And it also requires, we basically split in two things. That which can be pronounced independently, and that which should be pronounced only with a swara, only with a vowel. See, even in English we have vowels: A, E, I, O, and U, right? But if you look at the very second letter in the alphabet, what is it? B. In Sanskrit there is no B, right? When we don't have an ability to say B in Sanskrit. Let me just open a new file up so I can start doodling around here. Okay, so I'm saying if I wanted to say, so the English letter is what? It is B, and we pronounce it as, if I were to write it in English itself, how would I say it? I would say B, right? But in Sanskrit, what would I write? I would try to write it as Bakara, okay, followed by E, then it will be B. I cannot say B. If I want to say B, it will be B. If I write B, this is B. Bakara with short E, right? The second one is Bakara with long E, which is what? B. So what is the difference between E and E? One is short, one is long. How short and how long? It's not something arbitrary. Okay? If you take 1 second to say E, it's not 1 second. Okay, let's say it takes quarter second to say E. Then you should take exactly half a second to say E. You cannot mess with that. You cannot, like say people will say Om. Om is a very good example for this. Om is supposed to be this O in Om. This O is supposed to be 3 matras. Which means what? It should take 3 times the amount you take to to say E. In Paninian language, we will say there are three: U, U, and U. U, U, U. That's it. These are the only three matras. There is no fourth matra. So if you pronounce Om as Om, it is not right. Technically, it is not right. Based on the Vyakaranam, it is not right. If you are doing it for the sake of the breathing effects, the pranayama, because it helps you focus in your meditation or something like that, that's a different matter. But the Om, the O in Om is supposed to be 3 matras. In general, O is how many matras? It is just 2 matras. So it should go exactly the same length as an U. U, I mean, not U, U. So O, Om is not right. Om, 3 matras. So it's all about phonetics. It's about how we pronounce, from where we pronounce, to what length we pronounce. All these are very, very critical aspects of the language. Yes, take the mic and ask a question. 1 second. I have a local question in the audience here, local audience. So I'm giving them a mic and I'll take the question and then go on. And if anyone of you have a question, you're welcome to raise your hand as well.
So 3 matras in Om, is it with respect to Ma? I mean...
No, it's with respect to O. The 3 matras is with respect to O. Because Ma, okay, let me write Ma Om and show you what happens, okay? Okay. So what is Om now? Anup, you watch the audience also for me if you don't mind. Yeah? Right. Om is the word, right? Now, what does it consist of? It consists of a vowel, O, and a consonant, Makara, right? The consonant has no sound of itself. It cannot be pronounced by itself. You try saying Ma, but don't say a vowel, okay? Where will it be? It will get stuck in your mouth, on your lips. Your lips will form, but you cannot say Ma. Alright? That's it. It can't go anywhere beyond that. If you pronounce it, you will get at least one vowel. You will get A or you will get A. You can say Ma, then it is one vowel. A. So, Makara plus Akara is Ma. So, when you are asking how many matras, a consonant has no matras in this matter for pronunciation. It takes some time, but very, very small. The real pronunciation time is coming from the vowel. That is why it is called Swara, Swayam Rajate.
So
it is the vowel alone which is pronounced.
If I'm spending like 3 seconds for saying O, then should I spend just half second for Ma?
Very, very short. There is no length given for that. Because as I said, it is just supposed to be, see, it rides on a vowel. Okay, let me give you another example. What's your mother tongue? Hindi. Okay. Okay. I will say something which will make sense to Tamilians. I'm not a Tamilian, but I will still say something which will make sense to people. Even in Kannada we say that actually. Okay. When we make food, we all eat food, right? You eat chawal. Do you eat chawal by itself? Sometimes you will. If you don't have anything else, you eat chawal. But will you eat, just some sabji by itself for food? Especially I'm talking of the people in India, not the acquired taste coming here saying I eat only salad, I eat only this, right? So we normally say in Kannada also we will say there is Vyanjana. Even in Hindi I think the word exists. Kya Vyanjan banaye hain aaj? For a food. What is Vyanjan? Vyanjan is that which will go with your staple food, which is chawal or roti. Right? You have your bread or you have your rice with which you eat a vegetable. You eat some sambar, you eat some vettakolam, whatever you want to eat, right? All these will go with your bread or your rice. Your bread and rice is the main component, right? These Vyanjanas don't have an existence of their own. They only go with the main course. They are a side course. In a very similar manner, this Vyanjanam is something which is supposed to bring out the beauty of the vowel in the language. Okay? So the vowel is what is called Swaraha. Swayam Rajate, it is Swaraha. Rajate means that which shines, that which can be pronounced by itself. It is independent. What is Vyanjana? A Vyanjana is that which cannot be pronounced except in conjunction with a vowel. Either you have to have a vowel preceding the Vyanjana or you have to have a vowel succeeding the Vyanjana. So here you have Om. Because you have O, you can say Om. If there's only Ma, you can't pronounce it. Or you would have to have something like Ma, where Mataji, right? So you have Makara followed by another vowel. So I'm saying a Vyanjana or a consonant has no existence, independent existence. It has to go with a vowel. That's our rule. I'm contrasting that with English, where I'm saying we say that the only vowels are, A, E, I, O, and U. But at the same time, we will still say what? We will say that there is a consonant called D, right? And D is not really a consonant. It's a vowel plus a consonant. It is Dakara with E or E. Not exact sounds, I'm just saying close. D. Right? So there's no equivalent of D in Sanskrit. So you'll find most of the English letters we cannot really represent in Sanskrit. They're all close, that's it. Does it make sense? Okay. Any other questions right now? No. Good. So what I was saying is this. So this is how the language is, right? Now this is where we should start normally. But going here is not something I want to do right now. I will come back to this topic, and I'm planning to do this topic in much more detail with what is called as the Panini Shiksha Sutras, which will tell you how each alphabet is to be pronounced, from what position in your tongue, where should your tongue be, which part of the mouth should it touch, and how it should be done. That whole aspect is something I will cover in a later class. But right now, as I said, I want people to be able to get started with the language, and I have already made the prerequisite that you should know the Devanagari. So I'm assuming everybody knows some sounds. We will perfect them later. So I'll come back to what I want to speak now. Okay? I'm just saying that I'm not going to traditional way of the grammar class and explaining why I'm doing that. Okay? All right. So the thing that I want to talk about is, what is a language for? What does language help you do? You communicate in a language. What do you communicate about with words? In Sanskrit we say, a language is only capable of talking of a few things. What are they? Jati. I will explain these words. Kriya. Guna. And Sambandha. Okay? These are the only 4 things that words can deal with. Now, for the understanding of all of you, what is Jati? Jati typically can be translated not very tight but loosely as a species. Okay? A species. What is Kriya? Okay, I would say one thing to you. You're welcome to take notes, but if you think this is useful to you, I can save this whiteboard and put it on the web page, so you don't have to worry about having to write all this down. Okay? My handwriting is not great, but if it's legible enough for you, then you need not take notes. Okay? All right. So Kriya. What's Kriya? Kriya stands for action. What is Guna? A quality, an attribute of some kind. What is Sambandha? A relationship, a link. Okay? Now, don't confuse this relation with mother, father and stuff like that. Okay? Because that would be what? That would be a jati. You go into kind of jati. Alright? So these are the only things that a language can express. Now, you can come up with any word and see that it will fit into one of these. Okay? So, this is what a language is all about. It can talk of a species, it can talk of actions, it can talk of quality, it can talk of relationships. Now, if you look further within this, then what are we going to find? You will find that Jati and Guna and Sambandha, these 3 can be seen as nouns. In English, the sambandha is not noun. It can be conjunctions, it can be prepositions, it can be anything else. But in the Sanskrit language, you will find that they are always nouns. Okay? There is no other thing you have there. Then, what does it leave us with? Who is the only odd man out? The only odd one out is our kriya. Okay? That's the only odd one out. What is kriya? Kriya, as I said, is an action. Alright? What is an action? In English, it's the verb. Correct? But when explaining it, I mean, action means the verb basically for us. So, in the whole Sanskrit language, or any language for that matter, what do you need words for? You need only words for these. Right? In English, this sambandha is treated as as a preposition conjunction. So I'm saying, logically, any language, whatever language we either invent or there's a natural language, it is meant for communication, and the only things you can achieve with communication are these. Right? So how each language has implemented it, or how the language looks upon it in the construct may be different. And I'm saying in the Sanskrit language at least, these three, jati, guna and sambandha, are really nouns. Kriya is the only verbs. Okay? So what do we have now? We only have verbs and nouns. That's really all that we have. I'm sorry. Let me just do a better job on that. I'm still getting used to a tablet, so good excuse for me for now. So nouns and verbs, those are the only terms we have, and that is something that we have to deal with. So that's the whole Shabda Shastra. What is it about? Verbs and nouns. Okay? Now, I'll just refresh your memory a little and say, what we talk about with reference to nouns and verbs last class? I mentioned the fact that when you talk about a noun, you have to always talk of it in relationship with a verb. How it relates with what? With a verb. Okay? So what does it mean now? What's the center point? What's the centerpiece for us then? The verb becomes centerpiece. Okay? So the main focus in the language to start with is the verb for us. Because you start with a verb and only then can you make any sense of anything else. Why do we say that? Let's say I just said door. Suppose I said door to you. What would you all have to say? I'm communicating to you. I'm saying door. What will you ask me? What about the door? Or which door? Right? What about the door? I'll say door was opened. Door was closed. There is somebody at the door. Open the door. Suppose I meant there was somebody at the door. There's a knock. And I said door. What would you understand? You would understand it as open the door. Right? And if I say I'm leaving, I'm going to the mall right now. I'll be back in 2 hours. And I say door. It means close the door. Right? So though I'm using a noun which is door, what am I really trying to say there? It is an action. Right? So the verb is a centerpiece. And once the verb is there, now you know what the verb is. What in this case, if I were to say, if I'm trying to say, close the door, if I'm saying this, if I'm saying close the door, what am I trying to really say? What's the verb here? Close, right? Close is the verb. So then you can ask me a question, close what? Answer is the door. Which door? The front door or the back door, right? Suppose there were 3 front doors. Suppose, you had 3 doors. Then you'll have to say which one among them. I'll say the one which is painted blue, right? So why do you need adjectives? What are adjectives? See, in English we talk of adjectives, adverbs. What are adjectives? Qualifiers. What are they qualifying? A noun, right? In the Sanskrit language also we have a term for adjectives. We say visheshanam. Visheshanam means that which qualifies. But technically, grammatically, it's nothing but another noun. So I'm trying to show you the distinction, because when you look at the language, when I'm saying noun, I'm not meaning it as something in opposition to an adjective. I'm not saying it is something in opposition to an adverb. When I say noun, I'm saying a noun grammatically here. Get that? So I'm saying, when I'm saying there are only two things, verbs and nouns, don't take it to mean that there are no adjectives, there are no adverbs, there are no prepositions, there are no conjunctions. What kind of a language is Sanskrit? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, technically, in the grammar, they are nouns or they are verbs. And that holds pretty well with this understanding of ours, which is to say, there is jati, guna and sambandha, which are nouns. You can see that logically they are nouns. And kriya is the only thing which is a verb. Okay? Is that clear? If anybody has questions on these basic levels, I would be happy to take them anytime. Okay? Just raise your hands, so Anup or I will see you raising your hands, and I'll take it right away. Okay. So having said that, we talk in Sanskrit. So the basic thing is to talk of. Let me also introduce another concept before. Okay. So this, as I said, a noun is always known in relationship with a verb. And that relationship is primarily expressed by what we call a karaka. Okay? A karaka. Karaka. The karaka means, in Sanskrit we have a nice definition. This is etymologically defined words. Sorry. Karoti iti karakaha. Now those of you who know, I will say some more things than necessary for the basic level, so that people who know a little more will get more out of this class. But if there is something you need to understand, I'll make sure I will translate it or I will make it clearer. Okay? So if there's something you don't understand, you're welcome to ask, but I may say more things than all of you understand, because I want to address the entire audience in the class. Okay? Karoti iti karakaha. Karoti means he does. It does, he does, she does, whatever it is, right? Iti means the one who does, the agent of doing is called a karaka. Okay? So a karaka is that which does, that which accomplishes something. It could be accomplishing anything. Okay? So as I said, a noun could be the agent of an action. A noun could be like, as I said, if I said Rama goes to school, Rama is the agent of going. The verb going. So in that case it is called as a kartrikaraka, an agent. Okay? The second one is to say, Rama gave me a book. Rama gave me a book. Now let us look at, he gave, all right. Who gave? Rama. What did he give? A book. So the question, if you ask the verb what, whatever it answers, that will tell you what is called as the karma karaka, which means that which is the object of the action. Okay? Then we have something called a karana karaka. Okay, let me just write this for you. So first is karta. Karta is, sorry, karta. Karta is agent. Okay? Second is called karma. Karma means, don't take this literally. These, I'm giving you definitions to just get us running, okay? These are not final. These will change as we go. But karma essentially means, one of the meanings of karma is it's the object of the action. Okay? Then we talk, these two are something which you will see in almost any conversation, because there is an agent of an action for sure, and there is always an object for that action. Almost. Not always. I'll correct that also. And then we have what is called as a tool or an instrument for an action. So I'm writing with a pen. What is a pen now? Write is the verb. How is pen connecting to the writing? It is an instrument with which I write. It is not the agent, because I am the writer. It is not the object. I am writing on the tablet, right? But it is a tool with which I write, without which I cannot accomplish the job. Therefore, it is called an instrument. Then, for whose sake I am writing this? I am writing it for the sake of all of you understanding what I am talking in the class. Therefore, there is another thing called a dative. In English, you will hear it termed dative. These are very poor translations because I can't find anything better. I'm just saying this, okay? But we will address, as I said, treat this as like a bird's overview today. All this, what I'm saying, is not in any great detail. We will go into great detail to Karakas. So this is just the first round, right? So dative means what? When you're doing for somebody's sake, unto somebody, you're giving something, right? I give money to you, so you become the person to whom I'm giving the money. We don't call it an object. We say you're dative for that. Okay. Then we have a situation where, let's say, you unload your car. You got your bags in the car and you took it off. You got your groceries off your boot in the car, right? What's happening now? The grocery is coming out of the car, or a fruit is falling from the tree, right? So these, where a separation is involved, okay, there we have a karaka, which is called, in Sanskrit it's called apadana. Okay, let me do that here too. Instrument is called karana. Karana. Then what's the next one? What is dative? Anybody? No? See, I'm not remembering, so I'm asking somebody here to help me. Huh? Apadana is Panchami. No? Nobody is remembering anything? Huh? Okay. Even I'm not remembering for a minute. So, what's going on? I'll come back to it in a minute, okay? Karane, Tritiya. Then, I don't know why I'm forgetting that basic name for it in Sanskrit. But I'll look it up. In a minute, I'll come back to it, okay? Then we have something called Adhikarana, which is the location. Sampradana, correct, absolutely. Thank you, Anup. Sampradana. Samyak pradiyate, or anena, I think, something like that. So basically it is that which is well given. Means what? Okay, I'll give you an example to understand Sampradana. Now, you gave me money. You gave me money. And you don't expect it back. Like you gave me dakshina. That is Sampradana. Okay? But suppose you have all these things where it says 0% financing, 0% financing. What is that? Are they giving you money? Are they giving you money? Technically, yes. But are they giving it to you for good? Unless we have a bailout program. You know, you basically are being given so that they can make money off you. That is not Sampradana. Now, let's say you donated clothes, your old clothes or new clothes to charity. You gave it away. Salvation Army, right? But let's say you gave your clothes to the dry cleaner. What do you expect? You expect your clothes back, right? That is not Sampradana. So Sampradana is giving, but not with an expectation of something coming back to you. It's just giving. Okay? So it's a one-way street. So where it is that, only then we use this thing called Sampradana. Okay? Then Adhikarana. Adhikarana is called, in English it's called the locative. Okay? So what is the locative? Location. Location in time, location in space, and what else? Suppose I'm talking about something to you. In our subject matter is that's also a kind of location, right? I'm talking to you about something. So we talk of Saptami as one which is Desha Adhikarana, Kala Adhikarana, Vishaya Adhikarana. Desha means a space, Kala means time, Vishaya means a subject matter. So this adhikarana or location is with respect to space, time, or a subject matter, right? So these are called these six. So we saw karta. Okay, let me use something here. Okay, so we have karta. So I'll take a question, 1 second. Okay, so we have karta, karma, right? Then karana, instrument, sampradana, apadana, adhikarana. These are what we call as the primary karakas. Now, a loose meaning for the word, I'll take the question in a minute, okay? The loose meaning for the word karaka, I said first karoti, that which accomplishes. So we call it as a factor related to an action. Because it is not the agent, it is not necessarily one of them, but it's a factor related to an action, tightly coupled to the action, without which the action will not happen. Primary agent is karta. So we say swatantraha karta. So Panini Sutra means he is independent. He has a free will. Okay. So let me see what's the question now. Just 1 second. I'll have to go to my normal. Okay. Audience. No, audience we don't need. Just 1 second. I'm coming to the question. Said somebody had an question?
No, it's a hand raised.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I got it. Oh, Satish ji is here. Oh, I didn't even see that. Satish ji, you're on the phone.
Namaskara.
Namaskaram.
Abhinandanam.
Abhinandanam.
Jayate.
Huh?
Bhavata adhyapanam shrotam shrutva harsha jayate.
Very, very happy to hear from you. Just for the sake of all the audience, I want to acknowledge Satish ji here. He has been my teacher for Sanskrit and continues to be my teacher.
Don't listen to this. I'm nobody. Only one small thing is that I would suggest all of you please memorize Bhagavad Gita. It will help you understand all what Shankarji is saying and beyond that. Because, you can, whatever you learn today or next class, go home and practice on the Gita if you can. For example, today when you go home, you should go and say, how many karakas are there in Gita? Who is the karta in the Gita?
Satish, you're breaking up. You might want to keep close to the mic.
I'm too far?
Yeah, now you're okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, I'm just one suggestion. This is Mama Pratyaksha Anubhava Vartate, is that my experience is that by connecting to Gita, your Sanskritam will become really easy for you. It will be, you have something to go back to your home base, because all these things you may not remember tomorrow. What Shankarji is saying, I mean, after some time they start making sense to you. But if you can connect to the Gita all the time, and if possible, at least memorize some shlokas, some adhyayas, it will be very, very useful. It will give you some knowledge and also a lot of other things in life beyond that. Because there, no effort in Gita is ever lost. No negative all the time. Like second adhyaya, we have a shloka in Gita, right? Neha bhikramanashosti pratyavayo navidyate. Svalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So even any small thing you learn from Gita, even Bhagavan Uvacha, even Sanjay Uvacha, whatever you say, that also will be very, very useful. And you can start learning. See, learn grammar is difficult because we don't have the day-to-day practice to, remember these things. So if you know shloka in Gita where the rule is applied, if you chant it all the time, you will remember, Shankarji said something in the class about this word. I remember that. So that will help you, a lot in learning. And you'll have the Lord's grace. In 10th Adhyaya, Bhagavan says, right? Tesham evanukampartha mahamadnyarjantamaha nashayam yatra bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvata. So whatever they don't know, I teach them. It comes in the Gita itself. So what more do you want? You have the guarantee from the Lord. Not only that, you'll get the ability to speak in Sanskritam also. And that's also my experience. Even if you know Vyakaranam, even if you've read a lot, sometimes you cannot speak. Bhashane vishwasa na jayate. It is vastutah aspin kale, aspin deshe api, bharat deshe api. Samskrita bhashane kovidaha ati viralaha vartante. Very few can speak in Sanskritam well, well, without having to worry. Not that I can, but I can at least try now. Before Gita, I used to be very scared. What can I say? I'll make mistakes. I'll be very, I'll be stuck all the time. But after Gita, I said, well, Gita now, so we can try. So you'll not be afraid. Like, Lord Krishna says, Master Pichaha, don't worry. You remember that all the time. I'm sorry to disturb the class, but this is just my 2 words for today. And then one more thing I think Shankarji already mentioned is that Sanskritam we learn the Panini way. Because Panini has made it, actually made it easy for us. Most people come to Panini and say, oh, he made it very difficult. It's not the case. We look at Panini Sutra as, like, Shankarji mentioned one right now, right? It is Swatantra Karta. Very simple sutram, very simple. All it says is that in the sentence, the one who is independent, without him the action will not happen. That is the Karta. It's very simple sutram. Understand that one sutram where it comes and just keep it. So you got one Panini sutram you got for today. But don't forget this because it's a very simple bits that Panini gives you. Just take them one bit at a time and try to remember them if you can. If not, it'll come again. So these are what Panini has done is basically chop the language down into really manageable bits, if you call. And those bits are easy to take. If you understand, if you don't understand, leave it. Doesn't matter. And again, the same thing. Whatever sutram you learn, you practice on the Gita. So ask Shankarji, where is this in the Gita? Shankar, can you tell me where it is? Give me one example from the Gita. If it is not in the Gita, maybe it's not that important also. So that's step number 2. So on one side you have Panini Vyakaranam, other side you have practice of Bhagavad Gita and also the grace of the Gita you have. So at least that's the 2 best thing that I have found, because otherwise when you learn some rules in English or whatever, you don't know whether they're real rules or not. They may not apply everywhere, you're not exactly sure. With Panini, when you learn a sutram, you can apply it fearlessly. There's bhayam nasti. Panini uktavan, am prayogam karishyami, very easy. Panini said this, I'm going to apply it. Nobody can tell me no. If somebody can tell me no, then you should tell me there's apavada for that, exception might be for that. That's the next step. You don't have to be worried all the time, is this correct? Is not correct? No, it is correct because Panini said so. That's as simple as that. So that's 2 things I learned over the years is learn the Panini way as much as possible. Of course, some sutras might be difficult. You have to get some examples, and memorize Gita at home. So that's my 2 words. Again, all the best to you. Yushmakam bhavatam sarvesham jnanasiddhir bhavatu iti vayam asha asmahe.
Thank you very much, Satish ji.
Thank you.
Just hang on for a minute.
So much time.
No, Satish ji, thank you very much. Just hang on for a minute. He didn't let me complete, so let me say this to all of you. Satish ji.
Prashamsana karya.
Okay, there is one individual who I want to talk about here, who teaches Panini, who is studying Panini, who is very simple, who does not like to be praised. Okay, but he's a great teacher. He teaches in New Jersey area. See, Satish ji is mentioning a lot of things about Panini. As I said, I will introduce Panini, but I would introduce it to you very softly. I will not introduce it in a way which will make you run away from it. I'll introduce it in a way which you can love it. So you may have not appreciated everything Satish ji said now, but the fact that he's trying to make you see is this, that while we can all attempt to learn grammar in various different ways which are presented to us without Panini, ultimately you will say Anyatha Sharanam Nasti. If you want to really understand the language, you have to go into Panini in depth, ultimately. And what Satish ji is trying to communicate to all of us on day 1 of our class is that that is the way you have to go. And I have not mentioned much of Panini to you so far, simply because I want you to be with me. I want to take you from where you are to where we should be. So I will introduce softly, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks' time, when 2-3 classes later. But that is the way we will go. And once I have given you the basics, then you can all go to Satish ji for advanced learning, because I don't know more. I have to go to myself.
No advance.
Thank you, Satish ji.
Okay,
I appreciate your dropping in. Thank you very much. Home. Okay. And also what he mentioned about Gita. See, I'm if you notice, I gave you infant reader, and I said there's another book by Satwalekar. These are starting books for us, wherein I will show you the usages. But as I said right in the beginning, the prayojanam for this whole thing is to study our Shastras. And Gita is one of the Prasthana Trayi. So Satish ji is saying there are 700 verses there. It gives you a very good base for grammar. And actually, there are books which are written with just Gita as the means to learn grammar. I didn't want to go there to start with because I feel that I have made the bar very, very low here. I've set the bar as just knowing Devanagari. So I can't start off with Gita. So I will start you with what is Karaka, what is Shabda, what is, each basic building block I will give. And then we will definitely get there. In fact, Satwalekar volume 1 will start dealing with Gita verses. So we will see that in our reading for sure. So do keep
Sanjay,
what...
Shankar,
Yes.
one more thing, Shankarji.
Yeah.
One more thing
Yes, Satish.
is that nowadays you have a number of tapes and recordings on the web of Gita. In the old days, we did not have this. We had to go to a guru and ask him to teach Gita for us. Now you have so many tapes and CDs and whatnots, the iPods and whatever. Make use of it. Even if you don't understand a single word, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just keep it on in your car, keep it on in your home when you're eating or whatever, at lunchtime, wherever it is. Even if you don't understand anything, just keep on listening for a few months. Before you know it, you'll pick up a few verses. It's absolutely free. You don't have to know any Sanskritam for that. Zero. Even if you're complete zero, it doesn't matter. Keep on listening. Shravanam, Shravanam, Shravanam. Because, this should be emphasized because this is a new thing. All this only in the last few years with the recording business. So it is a very wonderful thing to use in the car, in the here and there. So there again, you start from level 0. There are no prerequisites to listening to Gita. Even if you may not be able to read the book, but at least listen to it. That is also a great way to start. Great way to start. Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Satish ji.
You're welcome.
So, as I said, Satish ji has done a lot. He's not talking of, theoretically. He's doing it. His own son has learned the Gita, being helped by that. So it's definitely a very valuable thing to do. And if you want to study Sanskritam, ultimately you go to Panini. And that's why I said I'm introducing it to you. It will take a little time, but you will get there. And you will be able to make a fine entry into Panini in due course. That's a promise to you if you stick with this class. And it is not a bugbear. It is not a thing to be afraid of or run away from. You can understand it, and I will show you that very clearly. Okay? So I'll continue with where I left off. Satish ji, I'll continue with where I was. All right? Okay, maybe he's dropped off.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay, Yeah.
No, I'm here. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to mute you now, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, yeah. All right. So, so what I was mentioning to you is that these are the karakas, factors related to action, right? So the factors related to action is the basic point from where the verb connects to all the nouns. So what did I say? We said that whole language is nothing but verbs and nouns. Actions, and that is kriya, then you have jati, guna and karma, right? So jati, guna and sambandha. So jati and guna have to connect to the verb. Sambandha is also a noun. So all these do not have a place unless you have a kriya, unless we have a verb to go by. So even if you say something like Rama, just say Rama, right? Then what does it mean? If I say Rama, you will have to ask me what? At the minimum, I'll have to say Rama is. Rama is there. Rain, sun is. At the minimum, you have to say is, right? What is? It's a verb. It doesn't look like a verb because it looks like there's no action. But in our Shastra, the very first verb is to be. Okay? What is the dhatu? We start with bhuvadi. Bhu sattayam. This is called a dhatu. I will introduce what is a dhatu now. A dhatu is that which supports. Supports what? It actually supports the entire language. Okay? Even in Latin, even if you're talking English, let me give an English example so that maybe you will relate with it better to start with. Suppose I want to say, let's say that you take a word like segregate. Okay? What does it consist of, the word segregate? The word segregate is S-E-G-R-E-G-A-T-E, right? It consists of say plus Greg plus an 8. Okay? I'm just showing it to you how Sanskrit will fit in very nicely. Sanskrit actually does this very well, but because I think everybody knows English better, I'm starting there. Okay? What is this Greg now? What is Greg? The word Greg means a group. Okay? So when I say Greg, you should understand if there's a word Greg in your English word, it means there's a grouping somewhere. So you say segregate. The say is a prefix. In Sanskrit we have upasarga. Okay? This group, this Greg is nothing but a root. A root means dhatu. Dhatu means a root, the basic starting point. Se is an upasarga, which means a prefix, a prefix, right? So now, if I said segregate, it means to separate from a group, because the prefix se in English means apart. Apart from the group means what? To separate from the group, segregate. Suppose I said congregate. What happens now? You all know the meaning actually. What does congregate mean? To come together, right? What is con there? Prefix. Con plus Greg plus 8. Okay? Then I'll say desegregate. What do you get with that? What was segregated, you have to unsegregate, right? So I'm saying egregious. Have you heard the word egregious? What does it mean? It means E, the prefix E there means what? Apart. Greg again is group. So stand out of the group. Who stands out of the group? Either the guy is famous or he is notorious. One of the two. Either it's a Bin Laden or it's an Obama. Right? Both are standing out. In the past in the English language, egregious meant a very famous fellow, a good fellow, egregious honor they would say. Now it means a guy who is, notorious. So what I'm trying to show to you is, you have segregate, you have congregate, you have egregious, you have gregarious, right? Gregarious means what? One who gets along well with the group, a flock. Greg is a flock, right? So I'm saying, you have a congregation, a church congregation. What's happening with all this? You have one root, Greg, which is being supported, right? And then you add prefixes, suffixes, and you mess around with things. Right? So when I said congregate, that suffix 8 gives you a sense to make it happen. If I said egregious, it gives you a sense of a bhava. Right? It's like a qualitative noun. Right? Sanskrit is actually the mother of all languages. It has all this and more. Okay? With this background, I can go now and say, just like you saw Greg here, a dhatu is exactly that. It's something which supports what? Now, in the context of the word congregate, etc., what did Greg do? Without Greg, could you make any of those words? They would fall apart. It's the holding piece, right? Because you will find the con with Greg, you will also find with consume, right? You will also find with consummate, right? So I'm saying the con and the prefix goes all over the place. I can say, like I said, 8. 8 again can go with everything. Placate, pontificate, right? I can use that various places. So the fact is, the root holds the whole meaning. The root brings the meaning in. So that is what a dhatu is. And dhatu, the word dhatu itself comes from a root. It's come from a dhatu called dhru. Dharane, that which supports. Okay? That which supports is called a dhatu. What does it support? It supports a word. It supports the language. It supports the entire Sanskrit language. So Sanskrit language has got, basically to start with, around 2,200 roots. I mean, there are different versions on this number. It's not a fixed number forever. But I'm saying there are around 2,200 roots. And each of these roots can take on, prefixes, suffixes, and a lot of other things. And, they will form different words for us. So that is how the dhatu adds to the language in various ways. So now the very first dhatu, when I said there are 2,200 basic roots, we start with a root. The language is expandable. Sanskrit language is not like English, it cannot be actually covered by any dictionary, because you and I and each of us can coin a word anytime we want. You can coin a new word in a jiffy, literally. You can create new roots. Those are called derived roots. In Sanskrit, those roots tend to be called sanadi dhatus. See, don't worry if you don't understand these or memorize these words immediately. These will get repeated. This is for abhyasa. So that if I keep dropping this word, over next 10 classes you will start recognizing what sanadi means. Okay? So it's for the sake of getting you used to those words, I will drop terminology deliberately now and then. Okay? So sanadi dhatu means these are derived roots. As against dhatus, which are kind of there, which are specified as dhatus up front. And those are called the dhatus in what is known as upadesha. Okay? Adyucharanam upadesha is a Panini Sutra. It says that which was said long ago, in the beginning. By who? It's there in the language right from the beginning. Panini says that right there. He creates an appendix called Dhatupatha. Dhatupatha is a list of all the primary roots listed in the language. He lists them and he does some packaging with it, which I will get to in another time. But what I was trying to say to you is dhatu is the centerpiece of our language. And the first dhatu happens to be bhu. Bhu is a dhatu. And the way we say our dhatus is to say bhu sattayam. Bhu sattayam. This is how we state our dhatus. Okay? So a dhatu is introduced by saying bhu sattayam means, sattayam means existence, in existence. Okay? With reference to existence. The word dhatu bhu is used. Bhu sattayam means the root bhu is used in the sense of existence. That's what you have to understand. So it's something called a dhatu patha. Now Satish ji's teacher actually has chanted this entire dhatu patha. And I plan to actually put that out as an MP3 at some point for our website so people can listen to it. And just listen to it. I mean, it's all in Sanskrit. Bhu sattayam. It will say like this. So unless you know the word satta, it may not make sense to you. But in due course, it will start making sense. Okay? So this is what a dhatu is about. Alright? So where were we? Again, want to bring you back to the context. Everything is either a verb or a noun. A verb depends on a dhatu. What is a dhatu now? Further, the dhatu has got bhu, which has what? Bhakara, ukara, varna. Letters of the alphabet. Right? So we have to know it at each level. Right? So on one hand, we have verbs to know. On the other hand, we have nouns to know. Now, nouns themselves, as I said, nouns cannot be used in the language unless they are used with some kind of a karaka, with some kind of a connection to a verb. Okay? And that is where all our declensions come in. So I showed you here and I said, there are these karakas, the, karta karaka, karma karaka. I told you a lot of those karakas, right? Just give me a second. Okay. 1 second, please. Trying to arrange my screen for myself a little better. Okay. So now, see now here, I had introduced these karakas to you as karta, karma, etc. So all of these, where do they fit in now? The idea is for you to understand that every noun has to be declined. And as I mentioned to you earlier, each noun, apart from this dimension, you have the dimension of number. Number means what? Is it singular, which is 1, or dual, which is 2, or plural, which is many. What are the words in Sanskrit for this? Eka. The number stands for vachana. The word is vachana. Eka vachana, dvivachana, and bahu vachana. Okay? So there's one more dimension. So now what do we have? We have a verb, we have a noun. Okay? So now for me to distinguish this noun, okay, what did I say? I said a noun is only existing in relationship with a verb, which means with a karaka. Right? So to help us distinguish it, I will say the noun has a basic starting point to which I have to connect. So that noun without this karaka, the base noun, or if I can say the noun base, is called Pratipadikam. Pratipadikam. This Pratipadika is a base for a noun. So for example, if you are talking of the word Rama, now the base also is Rama. Okay? But then when you want to connect Rama to a verb as an agent of a verb, you have to write it as Ramaha. Singular. If you want dual, it is Ramo. If it is plural, it is Ramaha. What does the word, as soon as you see the word Ramaha, you should understand. It is singular. It is connected to the verb as an agent. Right? You should understand this. Now, what else is there about, so these are two things, two dimensions now. And these two dimensions, I told you about these 6 things. Kartrikaraka is 1. Karmakaraka is 2. Instrumental Karanakaraka is 3. Sampradanakaraka is 4. Apadanakaraka is 5. Then Adhikaranakaraka, where is my Adhikarana? I probably have. Oh, okay. I think I have got my audience screen sitting on top. That's why I don't see it. Okay. So this is the 7th one. I didn't put a 6 here. Okay. Just note that. The 6th is really called Sambandha, in the sense that if a noun is related to a verb, I express it by all these 6 ways of doing so. But a noun may be related to another noun. For example, Rama is Dasharatha's son. Is there a verb involved? There is involved. But still I'm saying I want to express the relationship between Rama and Dasharatha. There is no verb involved in that part, right? This kind of relationships. Or it could be, my teacher is Swami Dayananda Saraswati. Teacher-student relationship. Okay? I am the owner of this pen. Owner-owned relationship. I am the employee of this company. Employer-employee relationship. So there are several relationships between nouns. All those are covered by the 6th case, and that is called Sambandha. So the word Sambandha, you can see, comes all over the place, okay? So Sambandha is the 6th one. So now we have 7 totally. 6 ways of the noun relating to a verb. 7th way of a noun relating to a noun. Clear? And how many vachanas do we have? Ekavachana, Dvivachana and Bahuvachana. So you have these 3. Then we have one more thing. See, in English, suppose I say my name is Rama. There is nothing else. Rama is that Rama remains fixed, right? And you say Rama went, Rama ate, Rama did this, Rama became that, whatever you'll say. But in Sanskrit now, apart from these, if I want to call you, I don't call just Rama. Ramaha. See, Ramaha is the agent here. I told you Ramaha. You don't call a person Ramaha. That means he's the agent. If I want to address you, I would say, hey Rama. Sambodhana. That's called vocative. Sambodhana. All these words I said you'll hear. Don't worry if you miss anything, okay? You will see this 100 times. So don't get perturbed if you are missing any of these words. Sambodhana means vocative. I invoke you. I call you. And so suppose you're calling Rama. Think of it, okay? If the Rama is far away, how will you call him? Hey Rama. Hey Rama. But suppose the name was Marut. Or let's not take Marut, it's a bad name. Let's take something different. Let's say the name was Alok. Okay? How would you call him? Far. He's far away. Try, one of you here. How would you call? He's far away. You have to call him from a distance. Huh? Alok. Why? Not Aloka. You don't do that, right? You can't do that because it's a Vyanjana ending. Right? What are you doing here? You are extending only the O. The last vowel is being extended. And that extends to 3 matras. Okay? So in vocative there are specialities. Therefore in Sanskrit there is a separate line for the nouns to define a vocative. It's very similar to the agent, but there are differences. For example, see right now, let's say there's a person like your Lata. Right? Now people call you Lata here. But if you were to be if I were conversing in Sanskrit with you, I would not call you Lata. I would call you Hey Late, Site, Ha Site. But Ha Rama, Ha Lakshmana. Why? Because the rules are different. For a feminine, there are rules which we'll get into. But all I'm saying is, you have another thing called a vocative. So now what do we have? We have these 7 things, and we have an 8th thing called a vocative. Okay? So that makes it 8. So you have 8 situations. Whatever I'm saying, please hold that, as a tentative understanding. Don't make this your final understanding, because I have to improve on it. I have to take you from, as I said, from not knowing to knowing. So I'm going in steps. So don't take this as final. This is not final. I will finalize it as we go. Okay? So 8 things. How many vachanas? 3. So how many total forms? 24. So if you want to express the noun Rama, you have to know 24 ways in which it has to be spoken about. That is what is called a declension or a Shabda Rupa. Now, I have told one of the books I have asked you all to get is called Shabda Manjari. Why did I ask you to get it? Shabda Manjari is nothing but a collection of all Shabdas. Okay? For each Shabda you have this. Now, how do I distinguish? What are the distinctions within Shabdas? What are Shabdas? Then we have to go to the root. What did I call the root? I called it Pratipadikam. Okay? Now, for the Pratipadika, what are the characteristics? This is a noun base. So, noun base. I'm using a crude word here. There's a Paninian definition which is very nice, but I don't want to complicate life for you right now. We'll get there one day. Okay? Noun base. What can be the attributes of a noun base? We say it has to have a gender. What are the genders? You have gender in Sanskrit is called linga. Linga. Now, see, in English I don't know what gender means, okay? But in Sanskrit, what does linga mean? Lingyate anena iti lingaha. That by which something is indicated. It indicates whether it's feminine or masculine. That's why it's called linga. Okay? Linga. What are the 3 lingas that we know of now? You have what is called as pumlinga, which becomes pullinga. What does pullinga mean? Masculine. Then we have strilinga. What does it mean? Feminine. And then we have what is called as the napumsaka. Napumsaka. This is nude. Okay? This is at one level. Then the other thing is this. In Sanskrit, this is again special to Sanskrit, is that you have to pay attention to the noun base. What is the ending letter? Very important. Pay attention to what is the ending letter of a noun base. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that let's say you have the noun. I'm saying the noun base is Rama. Can you tell me what it's ending in? A and not ma. Very important, no. So this is ending in a. Anup, you're monitoring, right? Okay. I'm not even watching the hands, by the way. Okay. So a is where it's ending in. Suppose I said Sita. What is it ending in? Ah. Suppose I said Guru. What is it ending in? U. Now, if I said Marut, what is it ending in? Takara. Right? Now, when you specify, we just spoke of the fact that there are 8 into 3, 24 for a given noun. Okay? And based on this ending letter, this ending letter is how you understand the various varieties of these 24 possibilities. So a noun ending in akara like Rama will conjugate in a particular way. The nouns ending in akara will conjugate in a particular way. And this happens to be feminine. This happens to be masculine. Okay? So when you're dealing with a noun base, okay, I think that's the end of this. Let me see if I can extend it. Okay. Just give me a second. I'm trying to extend this whiteboard so I can continue the same one. But maybe I can't. So then I will just open a new one. Okay. Okay. So now I'm saying we were looking at a noun base. So I'm saying a noun base, a pratipadikam. You have to look at its gender and the ending letter. Okay? So you will have a classification based on saying for gender X and for ending Y, where X and Y are just any letters, you will get a particular form of a declension. Which means what? You get 8 into 3. 24 forms. So for each type, so these I would call as, what is this now? So this is what I would call a type, a prototype. So if you know one prototype, in Sanskrit language, there are probably 60 to 70% of the words you will encounter happen to be ending in a. Alright? Happen to be ending in a. Like Rama, Krishna, Govinda, Madhava, Madhusudana, Ganesha. Take a word. Most Indian names you will find will end in a. Okay? My name is Shankara. Unfortunately, when we wrote in English, it's written as Shankar. Ends in a Vyanjana. So it becomes Shankar. It is wrong. That's why now I'm actually trying to change my own way of saying my name. I say Shankara. Because I want to make sure that it comes to me naturally. Okay, but I'm saying this is how it is. So the language is called Deshmukh. It's not Deshmukh. It's Deshamukha. You know? So this is how the language is to be understood. So I'm saying for each of these, there's a prototype. So I'm saying if 60% of the language is using a masculine words at least are ending in a, what do you think is more important? You have to learn that Rama Shabda by heart. You don't have a choice. Where will you do it from? Shabda Manjari. Go look it up. You will find the word. Start memorizing. As I told you, there is no easy way out. What will Panini help you do? Panini will come and tell you how to derive Rama, how to derive Rama, how to derive Ramo. You may not know that, but you will still know the language. Okay? I'm saying there are sections in Panini which will be very useful to us and sections which will be relatively less useful in the beginning. I'm not saying anything is useless, note that, okay? But all I'm saying, there's a place and time for each thing. When you're trying to walk is not the time to try and run. You first learn to get up, stand straight, learn to start taking the first small steps, and then you can take the larger steps. But you have to make a beginning, okay? I know people who say they have been reading Sanskrit for 5 years and they don't know Ram Shabda by heart. That will not take you anywhere. Absolutely won't take you anywhere. So make it a point. Any of you who have the commitment, make it a point to come back with your Rama Shabda at least by heart at the next class. You know, take that as a homework. That's the first Shabda you will find in your Shabda Manjari. Okay? And then I also mentioned okay, I think it's almost time. So I will do one thing now. In the evening class, so I will stop with this here. I'll recap what I've said so far and I'll stop. And in the evening class, what I will do is I will try to introduce the idea of how a sentence is analyzed. I've done it to some extent, but I will take something like vagartha or some prikta or some other words, and I will show you with English translations how it is analyzed. Okay? So you know how a Sanskrit sentence is analyzed, because that is the basic for reading and understanding anything. Okay? That is what I will try to do. But I will start an infant reader. Maybe I will give you some idea and take simple sentence in the beginning, because infant reader in the beginning is not for reading really. It's more like simple grammar. But I will, as I said, in the beginning I'm not going to keep that watertight compartment between reading and rules and this and that, because I want you to start appreciating the language and see its ease. If I said Ramaha gacchati and you can understand it, it's good. Progress. Right? Aham gacchami, if you can say, and it means I go, it's progress. Right? I want you to start getting there. So what I will try to do is at least introduce you to the first lesson in the infant reader. Okay? That's what we will do in the 7 to 8. And just to recap what I said so far, I'm saying, we spoke of the fact that nouns and verbs, we said first, the entire language is nothing but jati. Language only expresses jati, kriya, guna and sambandha. Jati, kriya, guna is all nothing but nouns. Kriya is verb. Verbs and nouns are all we have to talk about. Verbs derive their very basis from what is called a verb base, which is the dhatu. It supports everything. Nouns are have a base called pratipadikam, because the noun has to be expressed as related with a verb or related with another noun. 6 of the relationships are with a verb, and noun to noun is another type of relationship. We have vachana, which is the number, 1, 2 or many, which is ekavachana, dvivachana or bahuvachana. So, and then we had a case of addressing, vocative, where I said, hey Rama, hey Alok, right? That's the example you should remember. So with those, we get 8 cases for each number. So for taking singular, dual and plural, we get 24, a matrix of 24. And these 24 have to apply to every shabda. And within that you have now, for each shabda, the pratipadikam is a defining factor, and that, as I mentioned here, is a case of clearly seeing that there is a gender and there's a case ending letter of the pratipadikam. Those two together will constitute a prototype, and that prototype, each prototype will have 24 ways. And all these you will find very happily together in Shabda Manjari. This is why if a child starts learning at 6 years, he doesn't need all this logic. You just make him memorize Rama, Lata, all these. Then I just have to tell him when to use what. So simple. But without that memory, every time if you want to say, Rama went to bed, you will say, what should I say now? I know Rama, but I don't know how to say Ramaha. Then it's trouble. Therefore, I'm saying, Smaranam, memorization, kartavyam here. There is no choice. Do it. Do it for your own good. I'll take your question in a minute. Okay. So this is what I have said so far. And I'm saying in the evening class, we will start, I will try to explain how we go about with our reading. We'll start somewhere with infant reader. Okay. Now, your question. Take the mic if you don't mind, because otherwise it won't get recorded. Yeah. And anybody online has questions is welcome to raise your hand, please, so that I can field those as well.
These things, the 8 things that we spoke about,
yeah,
are like mixing prepositions together in the noun itself?
Kind of, yes. Yeah. See, it's not very precise to say that. That's why I said tentatively take it that way. I will refine that as we go.
Okay. So
okay?
We can associate in a general way, can we associate particular prepositions?
That's why I showed you what each was. I said one is an agent, one is an object. I'm not saying the word preposition. Note that, okay? It's very vague to say prepositions. Preposing one of the things. See, in agent, what preposition will you use? If I say Rama did this, what preposition is there in that? Rama did. There's no to involved. Rama did. Okay, Rama ran. Tell me now. Rama ran. What preposition is involved? None. So I cannot say it's preposition, okay? He's agent. That's why I'm using the word agent, object, instrument. It's not only preposition. But I'm saying prepositions are also used in English in some way to connect. But here you don't have prepositions. You connect with these. Okay? So I'm trying to give you an understanding. I'm trying to help you bridge, because what you should understand is why you need a declension. What is a declension? Why Shabda Manjari? Because then you will appreciate the value of learning and understanding each Shabda. If not, you will say there's one more thing to be learned. No, it is the very foundation of your language. You get Rama, you got 60% of the masculine words in the language. You got it. You just got it for the asking. Okay? So I'm saying there's a lot to be gained by learning just Rama Shabda. Start, and Rama is a great name. We just have Ramanomi. You know, just if you take the word Rama, it will take you far. So Rama is a great word. Part of the reason why I don't like to use Antoine. Antoine's first Shabda is Kupa. It's a well. You go and fall into a well. Okay? Here we start with Rama. So stick with Rama. Right? So learn the Rama Shabda. It's a good exercise. So Krishnan, that's the homework for next week. Alright. Any other questions online? Krishnan. Yes, Krishnan. You have the mic. Hey, what happened? Krishnan, you have the mic.
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah. You're on air. Krishnan?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Go on.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say was in Shabda Manjari, the way the forms are given,
Yes.
You have the Karta Karaka, then you have the Karma Karaka, but in between they introduce a Sambodhana Karaka.
Correct. See, Sambodhana, I mentioned that to you. The placement in some books you will find it as the last line after the Adhikaran, after the seventh one. In some books you will find it right after the first one. Because in the grammar actually, when you look at Panini rules, the Sambodhana is considered to be a special case of Prathama. Okay. The vocative is considered to be a modification of the first case. Therefore, they place it like that.
Okay.
But you just need to understand, not by order, but by knowing typically. So that Hey Rama, that Hey is not necessary in the language. You just say Rama, it's enough. But Hey is a quick way for us to identify that it's a vocative case.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm just asking a question about how does one memorize it, because when I learned it as a kid, I didn't learn the Sambodhana in the second place. I learned it in the eighth place. I
think if you are habituated to using it that way, it's perfectly all right. Which way you go, I don't think matters honestly.
Okay, all right.
So far as you know your case and you know that Rama, Hey Rama is vocative and Ramam is dual, I'm fine with that. You'll be fine with that rather.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Any other questions, either here or on the call? If not, okay, no other questions? All right, so I'll say the Shanti Mantra and we'll close this class. We'll meet again at 7. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you, everybody. Hey, where's my recording? Hey, where is my recording? Where is my recording button? Hey, should have been right here. Hey, which I'm missing. Hang on a minute. Audio setup? Yes? Someone? Yeah. One second, I'll close this. Oh, I'm missing something here. Just give me a second. Should be somewhere here. Huh? Hey, just give me a second, okay? Huh? 1 second, okay? Just 1 second. I want to see what's happening in my recording. I want to close that. Audio. Huh? Which one? View? 1 second. Just give me a second, okay? Huh, okay. Then it is in progress. Then why is it not showing me that? Where? Where is it? Nothing. I didn't go anywhere. File, options, view. Ah, there it is. I don't know why it was vanishing.